Welcome to On Location. As we begin a new month, we're going to be taking a look at new renovations just completed at Lincoln Depot. New renovations that are coming your way at the Island Bay Yacht Club. And then we'll take a look at a man that's been serving Springfield at the Henson Robinson Zoo for nearly 30 years. All that today on Location. We recently sat down with Pinky Knoll of Knoll Law Offices, which now resides in the upper level of Lincoln Depot. They've recently completed renovations to one of Springfield's iconic destinations. Welcome back to On Location. Today we're sitting in the confines of the Lincoln Depot, the Great Western Railroad Station, with Pinky Knoll. And they've just gone through a complete renovation here that you might have seen in the newspapers and press over time. So Pinky, can you tell me, why did you guys come here? And where's your business coming from, and how long have you been in business here?
Well, the Knoll Law Office has been in business for decades, many, many decades. And we had most recently shared an office on South 6th Street. We were looking for new office space, and you may know, we have a very old house. We're very comfortable with old buildings, and we were looking around and biding our time looking for one. The State Journal Register had an article in the paper in February of last year that they were consolidating their office space in their building, and they had decided to sell this one. We knew the building, and we knew that it was right across the street from the Sangamon County Courthouse. So the Knoll Law Office couldn't be any closer to the county building unless we were sitting in their lobby.
Right.
And then 2 blocks from the federal courthouse, where the lawyers are at almost every day as well. So the location was fabulous for us. We came right down, took a look at it, got an architect in to check the bones of it, make sure it was feasible, and we pulled the trigger.
And here you are.
And here we are.
So when did this whole process start?
So the newspaper article was in February of 2012. We finished the purchase of it in May, and the actual construction work started in early October of, maybe even been more toward the end of October now that I think about it, of 2012. So we spent 5 or 6 months planning the construction process before they actually started doing things.
Doing the actual work. And how much of a chore was it to work with the architect and make sure you stay within the boundaries of the historical societies and to keep the place functioning, basically?
Well, as a practical matter, one of the first phone calls I made was to the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency to see if this building was on the National Registry of Historic Buildings. It is not. So that opened up basically anything we wanted to do with the building within the confines of the building permits that were required, we could do. So that turned out not to be an issue. We had to resolve ADA compliance issues and ultimately got 2 handicap ramps from that effort to accommodate both the Knoll Law Office and the Visitor Center that we wanted to leave available for the public. But it was, I learned a lot. I had never done a commercial building before. If I knew then what I know now, I might have hesitated, but I didn't know enough to hesitate at the beginning, so we just plowed ahead.
Okay, now how did you approach this? I mean, you have your law office,
Right.
but you wanted to maintain the integrity of the actual historical value of the building. So tell me how you did this.
Well, we didn't do anything to the outside. the outside, all we did was sealed the bricks, and we put up some light fixtures to highlight the building. Um, put up some signage that was, I think we would all agree it's unobtrusive, and it blends well with the time frame. And that was basically it on the outside. We changed out all the windows, but they all had to be custom made because every window opening was different. So the windows all look exactly the same, but they're all brand new, and they were a big part of insulating our office from the noise of the trains. So, and they worked really well.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how long did the whole process take then to get it to completion? And are you completed yet?
We're almost done. We have a couple of little tiny things left to accomplish. We moved in on March 1st because we had basically lost our lease. There was somebody else who had committed and was moving in on basically on top of us, so we had to get out. We weren't quite done here, but we finished up within about a month afterwards, and we left the visitor center to last because it wasn't a part of the office, obviously.
Mhm.
So that we completed in time for the upper story tour on May the 2nd of this year.
Oh.
So we're done.
So you had a lot of compliments, I'm sure, because
Oh,
this is
good.
absolutely beautiful
Thank
to
you.
work. Now, explain to us some of the renovations that you did on the inside.
We did. I've talked about the windows, so
Right.
that was important.
Mhm.
We put in, again, for sound insulation, we added several layers of walls and ceilings and floor with different kinds of insulation, which was to address different frequencies of noise, because the train whistles right outside our door here, and it's very, very loud. So, and very painful, I might add. So the ultimate ending of all of it was that we can carry on a conversation on the phone with the train blowing its whistle. It all worked. So we were just thrilled to death.
And what was the huge need to preserve this building? I mean, how does it make you feel to be attached like you are now?
Well, I have to say we pinch ourselves every day that we get to work in a place like this. You may know Springfield's Living History program, and we're living history every single day. The building is extremely popular to Lincoln enthusiasts, and I think, I really, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and we're very grateful that we had a chance to be a part of it.
How many visitors do you have come through the door to the Lincoln aspect of this?
This summer, since May 2nd, I have kept track, and the building was not advertised because we got started too late. I didn't know when the building would be done, so I couldn't get it on the AAA site and all the other travel sites.
Okay.
So without advertising, we've had over 1,700 people come since May 2nd.
Oh, that's splendid.
So it's really been fun.
Now, are there any future improvements that you're thinking about? Different things you'd like to maybe see done or not done? Like, for instance, in some parts of the building, I've noticed where you've actually left the raw pieces of material exposed.
We did. This particular beam behind me is 11 inches square. It was so badly burned at the top of it from 2 fires here that we had to have a structural engineer check it and make sure it was still strong enough to do its job, which it was.
Of course.
But in terms of changing, we are so happy with the way it turned out. There isn't a thing I'd change. Nothing.
Now, there are some pieces that you have down in like a museum part of the building here. One was a telegraph machine, and there's some steps. Talk about those 2 pieces.
The steps were one of the few things that remained in the building after the second big fire in 1968. That fire was said to be arson. They never proved it, but it gutted the building, and the fire was fueled by newsprint that was stored in the baggage section by the State Journal Register. So it was a very hot fire. It burned out the roof and most of the interior. The stairs that we have did survive that fire. They are exceptional in character. You can see where thousands of people have stepped on them and worn away the wood. It's really cool.
It is a distinguished
and they're
look.
very cool. And Mr. Lincoln's feet have hit those steps.
Oh,
So
that's
I think it's just really
what a
really neat.
privilege
Yep.
to be in this
Yep.
building. Now, when individuals come in, they will sit and watch a program and kind of tell me their experiences as they walk through the
Sure.
door.
We have quite a few exhibits actually on the walls. Um, Different types of exhibits, some of it railroad connected, some of it Lincoln connected. There's also an early telegraph machine, which was donated to this building quite some time ago, and I wish I could think of the gentleman's name because he's still living, and I'm going to kick myself for not thinking of it.
Okay.
My apologies to him. And there's also 2 videos.
Well, we do thank you for inviting us in and
You're
for
welcome.
talking with us today, and we'll have a chance to go around and take a few pictures and make sure we get it on Access 4 on our program. So once again, thank you for joining us on location.
Thank you for your interest in the depot.
Something old and something new. That is what is about to happen at one of Springfield's oldest clubs on the lake. Bob Tregoning talks about his life there and about renovations coming to the Island Bay Yacht Club. And here we are at the beautiful Island Bay Yacht Club out on Lake Springfield. And we're talking today with Bob Tregoning.
Welcome.
Thank you, Bob, very much for having us out here today. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get an overview of what's happening here at the Island Bay Yacht Club. And specifically, I want to start, though, with you because you are a main center point here to the club. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and where you come from and how long you've been here?
Well, I've been in Springfield all my life. I started out here in 1978. I was hired as a dishwasher. Soon became a cook, then the chef. Then in 1985, I became the manager, and I've been doing that ever since. So I've been here for quite a while.
Well, now the club itself, how many members do you support here?
We have 550 members here at the club. We also have some non-resident members too, members who have joined and moved away but still want to maintain their relationship with Island Bay Yacht Club. So we got 550 main members.
Okay. Now, it's been here as long as beautiful Lake Springfield's been here.
1935, we were the second club on the lake to be incorporated.
Is that right? What was the first club, out of curiosity?
I'm not sure,
Okay.
but I thought we were, but we were not. I was told.
That's fine. I didn't mean to bring it up. All right. So you've got a beautiful building here. It always hasn't been like this, right? I mean, it should have gone under renovations at some period since the
Oh,
1930s.
certainly. This clubhouse that you're sitting in right now was built in 1964 and 1965. What we have is still on the grounds is the old clubhouse, which sat near the water and was their main clubhouse from 1935 till 1964. Then we built this beautiful clubhouse. It has been expanded. Again in 1999, and we plan to expand it again this fall.
Ah, okay. So you say this fall. So how long is this project going to last?
Probably 10 to 12 months. We probably won't be done until next June or July, possibly.
Okay.
So it really depends on weather and construction times.
And tell us exactly, what are you going to renovate? Or is it the entire structure that's
Well,
going through?
we've got quite a few things going on. The room that we're sitting in here right now is going to become part of the next door bar. That was added in 1999. It has quickly became the centerpiece of the club. It's where most people want to dine. It's casual dining, very family oriented. So we're going to be taking this room over, punching out that wall to make it one bigger room. But to replace what we lose here, we're going to be building a new dining room to the north, which will seat about 45 or 50 people. Now on top of that, we need to renovate the kitchen to handle the additional volume that we're experiencing here at the club. Having a full membership, we have a lot of families here, and we find that we don't have enough space in the kitchen. So we'll be building a new kitchen for downstairs and renovating the kitchen upstairs.
Now, is this going to actually shut down the club for a little while, or will it continue to operate while all this construction work
We
is going
hope
on?
not, but you never know. For example, when we start this November, we're going to plan to start the stuff outside in the north because we don't use that area during the winter. Mm-hmm. So then we have a traditional 2-week shutdown in February every year, and we're hoping to use that to our best advantage Now, we may have to close down a third weekend or a third week, or we may have to close off parts of the club as we punch through and join the new part with the old part.
Okay. And when it's all said and done, then are you going to increase membership?
No, that was never the thought.
Okay.
The clubhouse is only 11,900 square feet large, and we're trying to take care of the members we already have.
All right, fantastic. And there's such a beautiful atmosphere out here, and I'm sure that would be one reason to keep me around, that's for certain. Now, one of the little known things about the club is the regattas that go on out here. You don't really hear a lot about it in the main newscast that we have around the Springfield area. So tell me a little bit about the regattas, and because I know some of these regattas are just pieces of a larger contest that goes on.
Well, when the club was formed in 1935, it was formed as a sailing club, One Design Sailing. There were several different fleets at that time. And throughout the years, we've had regattas, and those are basically boat races. It depends on the individual fleet. Presently, we have a Star Fleet, a Sea Scow fleet, a Laser fleet, a Sunfish fleet of the kids, and Optimus prams. When I first joined the club, when I first became an employee of the club in 1978, sailing was quite huge. It's still an integral part of our club, but it has declined in some areas. We're really trying hard to bring that back too. And we're seeing a resurgence in the kids taking up sailing. And that's when we're looking forward to that.
Well, being out on the water is enjoyable for just about everybody except those that do get seasick or to some fashion. Yourself, I mean, do you also sail?
I do not. I've sailed once in my life. And it was a Sunday afternoon. We weren't too busy. And Jack Robinson and Ken Alderson asked me to go out, enjoy myself. It was a lot more work than I thought it would be. But we had a good time. But usually I find I've got duties here on shore.
Oh, okay. Well, by the sounds of it, in your schedule, it sounds like you've got a lot of duties on shore. So,
especially recently with the upcoming project and meeting with the architects and the kitchen design people and the contractors, it's going to get even busier.
And every Sunday during the summertime, you have what is called the Big Bob Barbecue. Can you tell me a little bit about what that
it was first named by Mike Crandall, who hired me back in 1978. It used to be called Big Bob's Patent Applied For Barbecue. and they approached me and said, Bob, and I was cooking in the kitchen, we want to really take our barbecue to the next level. And we would do 50 or 60 people on each normal Sunday. So we changed the format and we started doing a lot of different things. And our average is 250 to 260 people a Sunday. I haven't cooked in many, many years. Even though it still has my name on it, my guys in the kitchen do a great job with it.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being able to spend a few minutes with us today and talk about the renovations that are coming up. Is there anything that you would like to add that maybe I didn't ask you about?
I would like to add a couple things. A lot of people don't realize how much of a family club we are, and I'm really proud of that. I've been here for a long time, and there's always been a great emphasis on the family. You see that in the pool, you see that in the kids' parties, and you see that at the commitment of the resources the board of directors makes for the families. So I'm really proud of that fact, that we are a very family-oriented club. And the second thing is that the club is actually affordable. Our due structure is about $135 a month. And I know that some people can't afford that, but more people, we have a great diversity is what I'm trying to get at. We have blue collar workers, we've got professionals, we've got doctors, we have attorneys, we have people who work for the state of Illinois. I like that. I like that diversity of the membership.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, thank you again, Bob. And
thank you.
We hope to see you around at the Big Bob Barbecue,
yes,
for that matter.
And thanks for joining us today.
Nearly 30 years of bringing rare and exotic animals to Springfield's children. Talon Thornton is getting ready to pass the torch at the Henson Robinson Zoo. We dropped by for a chat.
And here we are at the Henson Robinson Zoo out at Lake Springfield, and our special guest today, Talon Thornton. Talon, thank you so much again for inviting us out here and talking about maybe what's gone on over these few years that you've been here, right? So tell us, how many years have you actually been at the Henson Robinson Zoo?
Well, I started here as a volunteer back in the early 1980s, and I came out here and fell in love with the place. At that time, I was actually a pre-law major in college.
Wow.
And was coming out here to volunteer. I had always had a great admiration, a great passion for animals. I grew up, I think, like a lot of people in our generation, grew up watching Marlon Perkins on Wild Kingdom.
Wild Kingdom, that's right.
And I, developed a passion for animals as a kid. And I came out here and started volunteering and absolutely fell in love with the place. Ended up changing my major. I did an internship here while I was still in college. Came back and worked as a zookeeper. And then I was the general curator for 8 years. And then I've been the zoo director for a little over the last 18. And it's been almost 3 decades.
Seen a lot of changes.
Seen a tremendous amount of changes. One of the first things I think that you notice when I started here back in the 80s, the exhibits were relatively smaller. They had lots of bars and no grass to roll in, like what you would typically see. Nothing to really climb on. The exhibits were very sterile. Has there been
also an increase in the number of animals?
Oh, absolutely. Now we've added so many species. The red ruff lemurs, I think, were our first really endangered species, and that was one of the species that I brought in one of my earliest years as the general curator. And now we have the red wolves, the African painted dogs, the gibbons, all 3 species of lemurs, that are really highly endangered. Before, they were just animals that you could see just about anywhere. I think one of the things that we're most proud of is our Wolverine exhibit. There's only maybe 10 zoos across the United States that have Wolverines. And we've had, colleagues come in and tell us how absolutely fabulous our Wolverine exhibit is.
Now, there's zoos across the country that harbor special animals that are becoming extinct, and there's a certain program surrounding that. What is that program?
Well,
called?
we are a member of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And we just had our most current inspection. Every 5 years, we have colleagues that come into the facility, spend a couple days here, and literally go through the zoo with white gloves. And they look at absolutely everything from our gift shop, our concessions, our education programs, to our animal exhibits. And it is, it's a very privilege to be a member of AZA, and it's something that I think that all of our staff look forward to and strive to constantly meet those challenges to become a member and stay a member of AZA.
Members, speaking membership, understand this last weekend you had a big barbecue for all the members. Where does the membership stand now for the Henson Robinson?
Well, our membership has really taken off over the last 2-3 years. One of the things that always poses a challenge to us is our budget. And our budget has kind of plateaued. And I think we're like any other governmental agency. We could always use more money.
Right.
And one of the things we've done is we've found some unique ways to market out to the community, our public, to get more memberships. And one of the things we do as a perk to that is we had a family picnic out here the other night. We grilled, one of our maintenance guys and myself cooked dinner for about 150 people. and it was a great evening. You know, we had different activities. We had some of our volunteers here with some of the animals that they could see up close.
Now, over the years, we've seen you on Channel 20 with animals, like on the noontime program, or even other times. But was there any animals that you really had to adjust to over the last 33 years, roughly? You know, to be able to handle them like that.
Yeah, and the animals that we take on TV, there's always that that unique opportunity to be bitten, to be pinched, to be grabbed, and there's a lot that goes on that we try to hide from the camera. I can remember one time going on with one of our scorpions, and you know, animals are like very much like people. They have different temperaments, different moods. Somebody may wake up on the wrong side of the bed that morning. But we were doing, I was doing a segment on Channel 20 with one of our African scorpions. Now these things have these great big pinchers on the front of them. And we were sitting there getting ready to go on the spot, start the news, and this scorpion just reached up and just latched onto my finger with this front pincher. And it was difficult keeping my mouth shut and to go on and continue the spot.
So you'd have to think twice before you take that scorpion out again, right?
You have to think twice, and usually it's funny. That's the one thing I always have to ask when these guys give me animals to take on and do a TV spot or a radio spot. My first question is, do they bite? And I always get conflicting answers depending on who I ask. I took a hedgehog on a radio show last year, and that hedgehog latched onto my finger, and I couldn't get him to let go. Luckily, we were on radio, and people couldn't see this hedgehog latching onto my finger. But those are the things that have made this job so interesting and so unique over this long period of time, is that it's always different.
One of your biggest accomplishments, do you feel?
You know, I think definitely our Wolverine exhibit. We just tore down our last corn crib cage. You know, again, those sterile exhibits with a lot of bars, a lot of concrete. That last exhibit came down last fall. So that was something that I think everybody here took a lot of pride in, is getting rid of those old style exhibits and now going with more naturalistic stuff for the animals.
I could sit here and talk to you all day. It's such a pleasure to be
Thank
coming out
you.
here. Now, one last question for you. What happens to Talon Thornton these days?
What happens next? You know, I still want to be involved some way with the zoo. It maybe you know, I come back out and volunteer again, and take this thing in a complete circle. I may help the Zoological Society. You know, help more fundraising to help raise more funds for the zoo. You know, being part of my life for, you know, almost 30 years. It's going to be very hard just to move away. I definitely want to stay involved in some way.
Well, we appreciate you letting us come out and talk to you before you get out of
Great.
here. And
Thank you very
we will hope
much.
to come by and see you some other time, maybe doing something else.
All right.
Maybe start your own zoo.
There you go.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks again.
We thank you again for tuning in today, and we hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Now, if you've missed anything, you could always dial us up on our YouTube channel. That's On Location 217, all one word. Or you could drop us a line at On Location, care of Beatty Televisual, 1287 Wabash Avenue, Springfield, Illinois, 62704. It's Sunday, so it's On Location.